Ever wonder why your favorite playlist algorithm keeps serving up tracks that sound eerily perfect? It's because somewhere in a server farm, an AI just composed your next obsession, and it didn't even need coffee breaks. Now imagine you're a music executive in 2025, staring at spreadsheets that show AI-generated tracks racking up millions of streams. Do you panic, adapt, or pretend it's just a phase? Spoiler alert, it's definitely not a phase. Here's the thing about AI music. It's not coming for your industry. It's already here, quietly humming in the background of your favorite streaming service. Those chill beats you study to, half of them were never touched by human hands. The mechanics are almost absurdly simple. You feed an algorithm thousands of songs. It learns patterns faster than any conservatory student ever could. And boom, out comes something that sounds legitimate enough to soundtrack your morning commute. No studio time required. No egos to manage. No arguments about which guitar solo stays in the final mix. But let's pump the brakes on the apocalypse narrative for a second. Yes, AI can generate background music faster than you can say royalty-free. Yes, it's flooding platforms with content. But here's where it gets interesting and weird. The real threat isn't that AI will replace human musicians. It's that AI will redefine what we even mean by musician in the first place. When a teenager in their bedroom can prompt an AI to create a full orchestral arrangement in minutes, what happens to the traditional gatekeepers? Picture this. Stock music libraries once charged hundreds of dollars per track. Now AI services spit out custom compositions for pocket change. The jingle writers and commercial composers, they're the canaries in this particular coal mine. Yet somehow, Taylor Swift still sells out stadiums. Beyoncé's albums still break the internet. Drake's latest drop still dominates conversation. So, what gives? If AI music is so revolutionary, why are humans still winning the culture wars? Turns out, authenticity is a hell of a drug. People don't just want technically proficient music, they want the story, the struggle, the artist who overcame something to create something. AI can replicate chord progressions, but it can't replicate heartbreak. At least not yet. But here's the uncomfortable truth the industry doesn't want to discuss. Most music isn't supposed to be art. It's supposed to be functional. Elevator music, hold music, background tracks for YouTube videos, retail store ambiance. This stuff was never about human expression. It was always about filling silence cheaply. And that's where AI isn't threatening the music industry, it's obliterating the parts we never really cared about anyway. The question is whether we're honest enough to admit that distinction matters. Some artists are embracing the tools, using AI as a collaborator rather than a replacement. They'll generate a baseline track, then add their own vocals, lyrics, emotional inflection. It's like having an infinitely patient session musician who never complains about doing another take. Others are drawing hard lines, refusing to touch anything AI generated, positioning themselves as purists in an increasingly synthetic landscape. Both approaches are valid, both might survive, but they'll inhabit very different ecosystems. The streaming platforms love this chaos, by the way. More content means more variety, means more user engagement, means more subscription revenue. They don't particularly care whether a human or a neural network made the track. They care about retention metrics and playlist completion rates. Meanwhile, actual working musicians, the ones playing wedding gigs and teaching guitar lessons, barely notice the shift. Their livelihood never depended on recorded music anyway. They make money from being physically present, from the irreplaceable human element of performance. So who's really threatened? The middlemen. The producers who made careers on technical proficiency rather than creative vision. The composers who churned out derivative work on deadline. AI doesn't replace genius, it replaces competent mediocrity. Think about photography. When cameras became ubiquitous, professional photographers didn't disappear. The bad ones did. The ones who offered nothing beyond pointing a lens and pressing a button. The artists found new ways to differentiate themselves. Music's following the same pattern, just louder and faster. AI handles the grunt work, the technical heavy lifting, the stuff that was always more craft than art. What remains is the irreducible human element, the weird, the personal, the emotionally resonant. But let's not pretend there won't be casualties. There will be fewer session musicians, fewer commercial composers, fewer opportunities for the merely skilled to make a living. That's not a value judgment, it's just market reality, meeting technological inevitability. The irony? AI music might actually save certain human musicians by democratizing creation. Bedroom producers who couldn't afford studio time can now compete. Artists from marginalized communities who are shut out of traditional industry gatekeeping can generate professional quality backing tracks. Technology cuts both ways. Critics scream about authenticity and soul, as if the music industry was ever some pure meritocracy. It's always been about money, access, connections, and luck. AI doesn't corrupt that, it just redistributes the variables. So will AI end the human music industry? No, but it will end the version of that industry we spent the last century building. The one where scarcity drove value, where production costs created barriers, where geography determined opportunity. What emerges might be stranger, more democratized, and infinitely weirder, where AI handles the predictable and humans chase the experimental. Where authenticity becomes the ultimate differentiator because technical skill is no longer rare. The musicians who survive won't be the most technically proficient. They'll be the most distinctly human, the ones who offer something no algorithm can replicate. Personality, story, connection, the stuff that makes you want to see them live, not just add them to a playlist. And maybe that's not an ending, maybe it's a beginning. Maybe we're about to find out what music becomes when anyone can make it, but only some people can make it matter. Here's your uncomfortable homework. Next time you're vibing to a random playlist, ask yourself whether you'd care if you found out half of it was AI generated. Your answer says more about the future of music than any industry think piece ever could. The revolution isn't coming. It's already in your earbuds. The question is whether you're listening closely enough to notice or whether you even should.